Welcome to the Bible Forum. I'm Warren Sprouse. I want to talk to you about a patriotic shoe. You know what I'm talking about? A patriotic shoe and revisionist history. You have no doubt seen it. You have heard how that Nike has pulled one of their new shoes off the market because Colin Kaepernick didn't like it. What didn't he like? Well, it had an image of an American flag on the back of the shoe, one designed by Betsy Ross, and apparently it represented the glorification of slave-holding America. And we can't have that. In his criticism, Kaepernick quoted Frederick Douglass. And for you public school educated young people, perhaps, you need to know that Douglass was a black man. In the days prior to the Lincoln presidency, in fact, I think he ran for president, he said, "What have I, or those I represent, to do with your national independence? This 4th of July is yours, not mine. There is not a nation on the earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than are the people of these United States at this very hour." That was the quote from Kaepernick. He quoted Douglass. But as with a lot of these political things, he left out the rest of it. What's the rest of the speech about? Well, Texas Senator Cruz said the speech by Douglass was mighty and historic, but that Kaepernick edited the speech, concealing several very significant points. He went on to say, quote, "You quote a mighty and historic speech by the great abolitionist Frederick Douglass, but without context. Many modern readers will misunderstand." And here are two critical points. One, this speech was given in 1852, before the Civil War, when the abomination of slavery still existed. Thanks to Douglass and so many other heroes, we ended that grotesque evil and have made enormous strides to protecting the civil rights of everybody. And secondly, Douglass was not anti-American. He was rightly and passionately anti-slavery. And indeed, he concluded the speech by saying, "Allow me to say in conclusion, notwithstanding the dark picture I have this day presented of the state of the nation, I do not despair of this country. There are forces in operation which must inevitably work in the downfall of slavery. The arm of the Lord is not shortened, and the doom of slavery is certain. I therefore leave off where I began, with hope. While drawing encouragement from the Declaration of Independence, the great principles it contains, and the genius of American institutions, my spirit is also cheered by the obvious tendency of the age." He was encouraged by the Declaration of Independence. Betsy Ross's flag came from that event. In addition, history notes that the Republican Party was established with two goals in mind. The new Republican Party was against efforts in Utah to redefine marriage, Mormons. The chief plank of the original Republican Party platform was to, quote, "prohibit those twin relics of barbarism, polygamy, and slavery." Republicans were founded on that principle. Prior to the Civil War, the United States had two major political parties, Democrats and Whigs. Democrats favored freedom of choice to own slaves. Whigs were attempting to be a big tent party in order to stem the loss of members to the Know Nothing Party. Whigs were originally the party of Great Britain, who opposed the king's absolute power. On February 28, 1854, in Ripon, Wisconsin, anti-slavery activists met for the first time. They then held their first state convention in Jackson, Michigan, July 6, 1854. This new political party took a stand against slavery. The name of the party was Republican. William J. Federer, author of Change to Chains, The 6,000-Year Quest for Global Control, and also What Every American Needs to Know About the Quran. You can find these articles on worldnetdaily.com. Now we have Arizona Governor Doug Ducey slamming Nike for canceling the release, saying the company had bowed to the current onslaught of political correctness and historical revision. Calling Nike's decision a shameful retreat on Twitter, the Republican leader vowed to withdraw financial incentives recently promised to the company in exchange for opening a Goodyear manufacturing plant with some 500 full-time jobs. On Nike's behalf, they pulled the shoe, set to go on sale next week, after one person told them that he and others found the version of the flag depicted on the shoe offensive. The design, often called the Betsy Ross flag, though it's not clear if the upholsterer actually designed it, has been appropriated by extremist groups such as the Ku Klux Klan and militia movement in recent years. Does that make the flag evil? They've hijacked American flags before. Should we stop making them? And who is Colin Kaepernick? King of marketing? King of merchandisers? Oh, that's right, he used to play football. And he got traded because he wasn't better than the new quarterback they hired. Or was it his politicizing even then? Or perhaps his attitude? We don't know. Companies that pay as much as football franchises do don't want unnecessary press. They want their properties to play football, not criticize something as important as an American flag. My guess is he was a mess even before all this happened, and that this was just too much. He played for an injured quarterback, not really well. Was he not able to do better? Or did he communicate attitude even with his coaches? We don't know. Except that no other franchise wanted to take a chance with him. So he got even by attacking the very heart of our republic, its symbol. A symbol of bravery, determination, integrity, and character. Qualities were he to have embraced, perhaps his life would have been better. A flag, a symbol of all we hold dear, of all we've been able to accomplish, of all we've done for freedom and autonomy of existence, for us and for every stepped on, bullied, and persecuted nation and person on this planet for over 240 years and counting. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. You don't like it? You don't appreciate it? You don't believe it? Find somewhere else to live that's better. You feel it's not fair? You're missing the point. America is neither fair nor unfair. It's simply a nation. It's the people's the laws, the organizational structure that is either fair or not fair. Go somewhere else, more fair. Or identify the unfairness and fix it. Our founding documents have stood the test of time. Our Constitution has been added to but never abandoned, never changed. There is no nation known to mankind as good as this one, for opportunity, for security, for reward. Critics pull out one thing they feel or they have experienced, and then they blame the nation. They don't blame their parents. They don't blame themselves. They don't blame their behaviors, their attitudes, their choices, their irresponsibilities. They blame you. If it were not for you, I wouldn't be in this mess. This is the essence of selfism, selfishness, and self-centeredness. And this one man who can't have the one thing he wanted, the one thing he felt was his, rather than going about the task of changing, is making a career of telling everyone else what's right and wrong. He's a black man, adopted and raised by white parents, growing up in luxury and ease, having whatever he needed, achieving the highest honor his chosen profession offers, now wallowing in his own discouragement and despair. He's making a profession of complaining. And about what does he complain? That the nation gave him the opportunities he enjoys? That the nation embraced him and encouraged him? That this nation protected him and nourished his self-respect? Would he have gotten any of this in China? The West Indies, India, Iraq, Iran? Name a country in the world that could or would offer this man the opportunities, the acclaim, the wealth, the respect he so desires. Name the country that did. Oh, it's this one, the one he's now spitting on. This is the mindset of our counterculturalists today. We're watching it unfold in a race for the highest public office of the land, an office that used to attract only the best and brightest, only the prepared and equipped. Today we have 20 plus people, most of them young adults with little or no experience nor character, telling us they're ready for this high office and demonstrating almost every day that they are not. In large part because they have no idea where their new ideas are going to take us. The adults in the room do. And it isn't anywhere good. What's happening is we're creating a divide between Americans that, based on our education system and media, can only get broader. One day, what these radicals say or do will be considered normal. The radicals of the 1960s are grandparents to the young people of this century. They bred into their parents the idea that America is unfair. They left them alone with liberal teachers and babysitters and television. When they began to reproduce traditional family structure, traditional moral standards, traditional parenting and education were nowhere to be found. And today they currently have no idea what's really going on or how easily they're being led into destruction. Oh, and you can't tell them. Now, there are exceptions. Not enough. Today, a former senator, vice president with experience is trailing an unknown homosexual mayor in both money and popularity. Mayor Pete Buttigieg from Indiana passed Biden in fundraising, bringing in $24.8 million, which is 3.3 more than Biden's 21.5. Today I noticed that Biden was up more than that, another 4 or so. Biden did enter the race before Buttigieg, meaning Buttigieg is getting a normal newbie bounce. But given that Biden is the former vice president competing against an unknown Midwest mayor, it's not a great sign for him. The adults in the Democrat family are being kicked to the curb. And the children, the teenagers, and the young adults are taking over. And regardless of how intelligent they are, it is amazing how dumb they are.